What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. The brother who told you to pull that white supremacist dildo out your mouth, but you didn't do it, and now it's got your ass out here trying to recolonize the Caribbean. And I am black up in your face again with some more pro black commentary. So, a very crazy story has come out of Texas where these two young white males, a Gavin Weisenberg and a Tanner Thomas, were plotting to go down to a Haitian island, invade that island, kill off all of the men, and rape and sell all of the women and children into sex slavery. You heard that right, folks. You heard that right. Two white males. And I want you to pay attention to the name of one of them, okay? His name is Gavin Weisenberg. That last name is important, but the other one's name is Tanner Thomas. Two white males were actually planning to go down to Haiti and invade one of the islands there and kill off all of the men, and they were going to sexually assault the women as well as capture the children and make child pornography or just sell the children into sex slavery. This was their plan. So basically, you can say that these two white males want to, walk in the footsteps of their ancestors and recolonize Haiti, right? So it's starting to pick up steam on social media. Apparently, these two were caught over the summer, but the story is starting to come out now in the media and on social media. But it's disturbing. It's almost so ridiculous that it's funny, right? I don't really take it as something lighthearted, but I know a lot of people when they first heard this story, they were kind of like, saying like, what the hell, right? I'm sure there are a lot of people who were confused or just baffled by the scope of this plan, right? And the fact that these two men thought that they were going to pull this off. But their plan was to get assistance by recruiting homeless people from Washington, D.C., the Washington, D.C. area, to go down to Haiti and help them take over the island and kill all the men, right? So it sounds crazy, it sounds ridiculous, but you have to understand that this is not something that's unprecedented either, right? So I can understand where they might get the idea that this was possible because all you have to do is look at history, right? All you have to do is look at history of the colonization of the Caribbean or look at the history of the colonization over in Africa, right? Or just colonization anywhere, places like India and China or Australia. And you'll see that this mindset is not really that far off. It's not far fetched at all. Once again, all you gotta do is read a history book and you'll start to think that this type of nonsense, or you'll know that this nonsense is possible. And that's what I think that these two demons probably got the idea from. Now, I'm sure they had other influences. I'm sure if you look through their social media, you'll see all types of stuff by people like Nick Fuentes or your basic run-of-the-mill white supremacists, even some of your favorite MAGA minstrels out there like Candace Owens and whatnot. I'm sure you'll see all that type of stuff in their social media feeds or stuff that they used to watch. However, the biggest influence comes out of white culture. And when we talk about these culture wars and basically putting the blame on the entire culture for the behavior of a few, they always do it to us when they find like these black criminals doing something, they blame it on black culture, right? So it's fair enough, and it's good for us to look at them and say, hey, you got these two white males here who are planning to commit genocide, basically, right? And we have to look at white European history to find out that this is where they got their ideas from. They got their ideas from their ancestors, because that's exactly what white Europeans did to basically everywhere they went. If you look at what they did to the Caribbean in the past, what they did to South America in the past, what they did to North America in the past, hell, what they did to each other. If you study the history of Europe itself, it's one battle, one conflict after another. It's one genocide and one invasion after another, right? And they have this built into their system to where they feel that their their lives and their civilization means more, and the lives of other people mean nothing. So it's easy for them to want to plot to do things like this. And these devils, they were going all out. They were, out there taking sailboat lessons, right? Even though one of them failed at that, right? They decided to take sailboat lessons so they can learn how to sail boats to Haiti. They were out there. I think one was actually in the military, which I'm not surprised of, because the military has lots of these demons roaming around, basically getting free training for how they can commit these types of acts onto people of color. They're the military, especially now, when you got scumbags like Trump and Pete Hegseth in charge. They're being taught and being groomed to be white supremacists in their mindset. So it's interesting that one of them was in the military and they had some training, and they thought that they were going to recruit some homeless people from Washington D.C. to do their bidding to help them take over the island. Now, to be honest, I don't know how they thought this was going to work, because I don't see Haitians as an easy target, especially not now. Especially when you think about just the history of Haiti itself, that the fact that they freed themselves from the rule of white supremacy and European colonialism, and the fact that Haiti does have a large crime rate. So if these guys decide to go down there and try to fight some of these gangs, I don't think it would go the way that they think it was going to go. Like I'm almost intrigued and wish they would have gotten a little bit further with their plan, because I wanted to see how they would react when they're facing down some Haitians with some machetes or whatever, right? I'm wondering how that would have went if they tried to fight some Haitians who were armed with like guns and AK-47s. I'm wondering how that would have went. Probably would not have went as well as they thought it was, right? They probably watched some movies, or probably were playing with themselves while, listening to a lot of white supremacist content on social media, and probably were real full of themselves, thinking that it was going to be like Call of Duty and just like a turkey shoot. Like they'd be able to go down to Haiti and shoot as many of the men as they wanted to, but it would not have gone like that, right? So at the very least, I can give the Haitian people more credit that they would have defended themselves, especially if they found out what these men were truly up to, right? So it's a sick story. It's twisted in his mindset. It's twisted in its conception, but it's also not something that we have not seen before. This is pure old school white colonialism devilry, and they were just trying to reenact it. I guess, I don't know if they just had delusions of grandeur, or if they want to reclaim some sort of glory that their ancestors had, and they just wanted to go out there and commit it. But once again, pay attention to that one of the names of these devils, Gavin Weisenberg. I found that very interesting when I first heard this story, that you got some of these people out here who are, basically white supremacists and white affiliated, even though within the white supremacist culture, they're not really accepted either. But this is not anything new either, right? One of the Columbine shooters, he was Jewish, And he had a lot of white supremacist rhetoric, and that didn't stop him from going to the school and committing that mass shooting. So that don't don't ever be too confused when they try to pull out that whole, well, I'm not really white, I'm Jewish nonsense. That's a distinction that they do. That's like a shell game. That's something that they pull out just for you. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of them align mentally and culturally with these European white supremacists. So, and this story proves that. Anyway, if you have any more information on this, or as more of this story comes out, I might do more videos about it. But if you want to let me know how you feel about it in the comments section, I would love to hear your opinions on it. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on the devil's back.